I'm standing in this nasty mall bathroom, staring at myself in the mirror, and I swear I look like a different person than I did this morning. Like, 3 hours ago, I was just Jasmine Torres, right? Single mom, 24, making $8.50 an hour at Panda Express, trying to figure out if I had enough for Sophia's school lunch money tomorrow. Normal broke girl problems. Now I'm apparently someone who just passed some kind of test given by a dude who probably makes more in an hour than I've seen in my entire life. My hands are shaking, and I can't tell if it's from being pissed off or scared or what. Maybe both? I keep thinking about that old guy who came in today. How sad he looked counting his crumpled up dollar bills. How my heart just broke watching him try to figure out if he could afford the cheapest thing on our menu. So I lied, right? Told him we had some senior discount we definitely don't have. Brought him a huge plate of food and watched him eat like he hadn't had a real meal in weeks. Felt so good about myself, like, look at me being a decent human being for once. Except it was all fake. The whole thing. That poor old man was probably wearing a watch that costs more than my rent. I splashed some water on my face, but it doesn't help. I still feel like I got played hard. You all right in there? Some lady knocks on the door. Yeah, just having a moment. A moment? More like a complete mental breakdown about everything I thought I knew about helping people. The crazy part is, I'm not even mad that I helped him. Like, even knowing it was BS, I'd probably do it again. Because what if it wasn't? What if the next hungry person is actually hungry? But that's what's freaking me out. This guy. David Chen, I looked him up. He knew I'd think that way. He knew exactly how I'd react. Like he's been studying me or something. My phone buzzes. Text from a number I don't know. Car comes at 8. Don't overthink it. DC. I text back real quick. How long you been watching me? His answer comes back immediately. Long enough to know you're what I need. That should scare the crap out of me. Should make me run straight to mall security, call the cops, something. But honestly, I'm curious now. And being curious about a guy like this is probably the stupidest thing I could do. You ever been in one of those situations where you know you should be terrified, but instead you're like, okay, but how did he pull that off? When the smart part of your brain is screaming, run, but the rest of you is thinking, this is the most interesting thing that's happened to me in years? Hit subscribe if you've ever been your own worst enemy. Because right now, I think I might be about to make the dumbest decision of my life, and I'm actually excited about it. I fix my ponytail, smooth down my work shirt, and head back out there. Whatever this is, I guess I'm about to find out. Walking back to work, I start seeing things that make my skin crawl. That security guard by K Jewelers, Korean guy, probably 30-something, wearing a suit under his uniform jacket. When I walk past, he gives me this little nod. Not like, hey, random food court girl. More like, hey, I've been briefed about you. Then there's this woman at Auntie Anne's who's been standing there all day but hasn't sold a single pretzel. She's got one of those tiny earpieces, talking real quiet while watching me walk by. How many people in this mall work for this guy? Where'd you go? Carmen asks when I get back to our spot. That rich Korean dude left like 10 minutes ago, but his people are still here. She points around the food court, and I see them now. 3 guys in expensive suits spread out, pretending to shop or whatever, but they're all positioned so they can see our restaurant. Carmen? I say, and my voice sounds weird. That old man I gave food to earlier, how long's he been coming here? Carmen looks confused. What old man? The one with the worn-out clothes? Korean guy? Looked like he was counting pennies? Girl, I've worked here for 6 years. I know every regular we got. Carmen shakes her head. I never seen that man before in my life. Oh, hell no. Never? You sure? Positive. Why? What's going on? Because if he's never been here before, that means this whole thing was planned. This wasn't some rich guy's grandpa wandering into our food court. This was like an operation or something. I grabbed my phone and Googled David Chen for real this time. The stuff that comes up makes me want to throw up. Chen Industries. Real estate and import/export, private security. Worth almost $1 billion. And that's just what they can prove. There's all these news articles about congressional investigations, connections to organized crime, but everything gets dropped because of insufficient evidence. The pictures are what really mess me up, though. This dude at fancy parties with politicians, cutting ribbons at children's hospitals, shaking hands with the mayor. The same guy who just sent an old man to test whether some broke girl would share her last dollar. Oh my God, I whisper. What? Carmen leans over. Is that the guy from earlier? Jasmine, this says he's connected to... Yeah, I can read. But here's what's really screwing with my head. Every single article mentions the same thing. If you're loyal to him, he'll move mountains for you. But if you betray him, you disappear. I'm not wondering what he wants from me anymore. I'm wondering what the hell I just proved to him about who I am. Carmen grabs my arm. You gotta call the police. This is straight up stalking. And tell them what, that a rich guy bought food at the mall? But if he's dangerous, then running makes me dangerous to him too. I look at her straight. Carmen, guys like this don't forget about people who might cause problems. If I disappear, if I go to the cops, if I do anything, I don't finish, but we both get it. My phone buzzes. Another text. Sophia's violin lessons are Thursdays at 4. She's getting really good. You should be proud. I almost dropped my phone. Sophia's lessons are private, through this teacher I found on Facebook Marketplace. How the hell does he know about that? The next message. Don't worry, she's safe. I protect what matters to me, and you, Miss Torres, matter now. Carmen reads over my shoulder and goes white. Jasmine, we gotta finish our shift and act normal. I cut her off, because normal is the only thing keeping my kids safe right now. That's when it hits me. This isn't about whether I want to work for him. This is about realizing I already do, whether I signed up for it or not. At 7:45 p.m., I'm standing outside the mall entrance, holding Sophia's hand and trying not to lose my mind. I couldn't just leave her with my neighbor, Mrs. Rodriguez, like usual. Not when some billionaire knows about her violin lessons and probably knows where she sleeps at night. So here we are, both of us waiting for a car that might as well be picking us up for a trip to another planet. Mama, why are we waiting outside? Sophia asks, swinging her little backpack. It's cold. Someone's giving us a ride home, baby. Who? Good question. Just a man I met at work. She looks up at me with those big brown eyes that see too much sometimes. Are you scared? Am I scared? I'm terrified, but not for the reasons I should be. I'm scared because when David Chen's black sedan pulls up at exactly 8 p.m., I feel relieved instead of panicked. When his driver gets out to open our door, I'm actually grateful someone's taking charge of my chaotic life for once. That's not normal, right? Normal people don't feel thankful when crime bosses take interest in them. Miss Torres, the driver says. Perfect English, respectful tone. Mr. Chen is waiting. The car is nicer than anything I've ever been inside. Sophia's eyes go wide, running her fingers over the leather seats. Mama, this car is fancy. Yeah, baby. It really is. David Chen sits across from us, and seeing him up close is different than watching him from across the food court. He's younger than I expected, maybe 35, wearing jeans and a sweater instead of a business suit. He looks like someone's cool uncle, not someone who makes people disappear. Hello, Sophia, he says gently. I hear you're learning violin. My daughter lights up. I'm learning Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Want to hear? Sophia, no, I say quickly. We don't have your violin. Actually, David says and pulls out a small case from under his seat. I thought you might want to practice. It's a violin, a really nice one. Probably costs more than I make in 6 months. Sophia looks at me with pleading eyes. Can I try it, Mama? I want to say no. Want to grab my daughter and run. But David Chen is watching me with those sharp, intelligent eyes, and I get the feeling this is another test. Just be careful with it, okay? Sophia plays her simple song, and it sounds beautiful in this quiet, expensive car. When she's done, David claps softly. Wonderful. You have real talent. Then he looks at me. May I speak with you privately for a moment? He presses the button, and a partition slides up between us and the driver. Sophia's busy examining the violin, totally absorbed. Miss Torres, I need to be direct with you. I don't typically involve families in my business arrangements. Then maybe don't involve mine. But your daughter changes things. She's your weakness, which makes her mine as well. His voice stays gentle, but there's steel underneath. I need people I can trust completely. People who have something worth protecting. You know that sick feeling when someone puts their finger exactly on your greatest fear? When they show you how much power they have over everything you love? If you've ever realized that protecting your kids might mean compromising everything you believe in, hit subscribe. Because some choices don't feel like choices at all. They feel like survival. What exactly are you asking me to do? I whisper, glancing at Sophia, who's still playing with the violin. I need someone with good instincts about people. Someone who can spot lies, read motivations, identify who can be trusted. David leans forward slightly. You prove today that you respond to need with kindness, even when it costs you. That's rare. That's just being human. No, Miss Torres. Most humans would have let my grandfather sit there with his water cup, pretending not to notice his situation. You chose to act. I think about all the times I've walked past homeless people, avoided eye contact with beggars at traffic lights. I'm not special. You're exactly what I need. He pulls out a tablet, shows me photos. These are people who work for me. Some of them are loyal. Some are stealing from me. Some are planning to betray me. The faces look normal. Office workers, security guards, accountants, people with families and mortgages and regular problems. I need someone who can help me figure out which is which. Like a human lie detector? More than that. I need someone who understands loyalty, who values honesty, someone who can recognize those qualities in others. His eyes hold mine, or recognize when they're absent. My stomach drops. And what happens to the people who aren't loyal? That it depends on what they've done. That's not an answer. It's the only answer you're going to get right now. He swipes to another screen on the tablet. Bank account information, numbers that make my head spin. Starting salary is $100,000 a year. Health insurance for both of you. Housing allowance. Education fund for Sophia. I stare at the numbers. That's more than I've made in the last 3 years combined. There's more, he continues. Private school for Sophia, the best music teachers, college fund that'll cover anything she wants to study anywhere that she wants to go. What's the catch? The catch is that you work for me now, completely. When I call, you come. When I ask you to evaluate someone, you tell me the truth about what you see. When I need you to be somewhere, you go. And if I say no, then this card takes you home. We never speak again, and you forget this conversation ever happened. He's lying. I can see it in the way his eyes shift slightly when he says it. Men like David Chen don't just forget about people who know their secrets. What if I'm wrong about someone? What if I tell you they're disloyal and they're not? Then we both live with the consequences. His voice softens. But I'd rather make those decisions with someone who has a conscience than make them alone. Sophia looks up from the violin. Mama, can we keep this, please? It's not ours, baby. Actually, David says, it's a gift, regardless of what your mother decides. Great. Now he's making my 6-year-old complicit in this too. I look at my daughter who's holding an instrument worth more than our car. Think about her crappy school with 30 kids in each class, the violin teacher who charges $20 an hour because that's all I can afford, the college fund that doesn't exist because I can barely keep us fed. Then I think about the people in those photos. Regular people who might lose everything because I can't tell if they're lying or not. I need time to think. You have until we reach your apartment complex, about 5 more minutes. 5 minutes to decide between struggling forever and selling my soul to the devil? Why me? I ask. You could hire psychologists, experts, people with actual training in this stuff. Experts can be bought, training can be overcome, but character? He shakes his head. That's something you either have or you don't. And you, Miss Torres, have exactly the kind of character I need. The car slows down. We're almost home. Time to choose, David says quietly. I look at my daughter, then at the numbers on that tablet, then at the man who's offering to change our lives forever. If I say yes, there's no going back, is there? No, he says simply. There's not. Okay, I hear myself say, and it doesn't even sound like my voice. I'll do it. The words hang in the air like smoke. Can't take them back now. David nods like he knew I'd say yes all along. Maybe he did. Good. We start tomorrow. Tomorrow? My voice cracks. I have to work. I have a shift. Not anymore. He pulls out his phone, types something quick. I just bought your contract from the mall management company. You work for me now. Just like that. He bought me like a piece of equipment. Sophia is still playing with that violin, totally oblivious to the fact that her mama just sold her soul to keep us alive. The sound is actually kind of beautiful in this quiet car. What do I tell people? My family, my friends? Tell them you got a better job, administrative assistant for a consulting firm. It's not completely untrue. And when they ask which firm? Chen Industries. We have a legitimate side to our business. His smile is cold, very legitimate. The car stops outside our apartment building. Same cracked sidewalks, same broken streetlights, same stain on the concrete that's been there since we moved in. But somehow it all looks different now. Like I'm seeing it from outside my own life. Someone will pick you up at 8 a.m. sharp, David says, dressed professionally. And Miss Torres? Yeah? Don't have second thoughts. Second thoughts are dangerous in my line of work. I help Sophia out of the car and she's clutching that violin like it's made of gold. Mama, can I really keep it? Yeah, baby. It's yours now. Everything's ours now. The good and the bad. Mrs. Rodriguez opens her door the second we get upstairs. Mija, who is that in the fancy car? Everything okay? Just got a new job, Mrs. R. Better pay, better hours. That's wonderful. What kind of job? Administrative stuff. Boring office work. She hugs me, tells me how proud she is, how I deserve good things. I smile and nod and feel like a fraud because I know exactly what kind of administrative work I'll be doing. After she leaves, I tuck Sophia into bed and she asks if she can practice violin tomorrow. Of course, sweetheart. Are we going to be okay now, Mama? That question hits me like a punch to the stomach. Because the truth is, I don't know what okay even means anymore. We're going to be different, I tell her. But yeah, we're going to be okay. That night, I lie awake staring at the ceiling, thinking about the people in those photos David showed me. Regular people who probably have kids like Sophia, who probably worry about money like I do. People whose lives I might help destroy tomorrow. You know that feeling when you've crossed a line you can never uncross? When you've made a choice that changes who you are forever? If you've ever traded your innocence for your family's security, hit subscribe, because some decisions don't just change your life. They change your soul. And tomorrow, I start learning who I really am when everything's on the line. The next morning, I'm standing in front of my closet trying to figure out what dress professionally means when you only own 3 outfits that aren't work uniforms. I settle on black pants and a white blouse I wore to my high school graduation. It's the nicest thing I own, even though it's too big now because I've lost weight from working 3 jobs and stress-eating ramen. The car arrives exactly at 8 a.m. Different driver this time, but same expensive leather seats, same feeling like I'm being transported to another world. We pull up to a building downtown that I've walked past 100 times but never really looked at. Chen Industries. 40 stories of glass and steel that probably cost more to maintain than my entire neighborhood is worth. Top floor, the driver tells me. Ask for Michelle. The lobby is all marble and modern art. Everyone walking around looks like they stepped out of a magazine. I feel like a kid playing dress-up in grown-up clothes. Michelle turns out to be this perfectly put-together Korean woman in her 30s, wearing a suit that probably costs more than my rent. Miss Torres, she says with a professional smile. Welcome to Chen Industries. Mr. Chen is waiting. The elevator ride to the top floor takes forever. Michelle doesn't talk, just checks her phone and pretends I don't exist. David's office is bigger than my entire apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows showing the whole city, desk that looks like it's carved from a single piece of wood, art on the walls that belongs in museums. Jasmine, he says, not looking up from his computer. How did you sleep? Like crap. Good. That means you understand what you've gotten into. He finally looks at me. Today you're going to observe your first evaluation. He hands me a file folder. Inside is a photo of a woman about my age, Asian, pretty, wearing scrubs. Dr. Lisa Huang. She works at Children's Hospital, Pediatric Surgery. Very talented, very dedicated to her patients. Okay, what's the problem? The problem is that she's been stealing medication from the hospital pharmacy, painkillers mostly, small amounts, nothing that would trigger automatic alerts. I stare at the photo. This woman saves kids' lives for a living. You sure about that? I'm sure. The question is why she's doing it and whether she can be trusted going forward. What do you mean? Is she an addict who needs help? Someone desperate for money who made a stupid mistake? Or someone who saw an opportunity and decided to take advantage? David leans back in his chair. Your job is to figure out which. How am I supposed to do that? By talking to her, reading her body language, listening to her explanations, trusting your instincts about what kind of person she is. My stomach twists. And then what? Then you tell me what you think, and I decide what to do about it. He slides another paper across the desk. It's a restaurant reservation for lunch today. She'll be there at 12:30. She thinks she's meeting with a hospital board member about a research grant. You'll be there too, at the table next to hers. Listen to how she talks, watch how she behaves, get a feel for who she is. And if I think she's just someone who made a mistake, then she gets help and keeps her job and her life goes on. And if I think she's lying? David's smile is sharp as broken glass. Then she learns that stealing from sick children has consequences. I look at the photo again. Dr. Lisa Huang, who spent 8 years in medical school to help kids who probably work 16-hour days trying to save lives. What if I'm wrong? Then we're both wrong together. But something in his eyes tells me that being wrong isn't really an option, that this woman's entire future depends on whether I can read her correctly in one lunch conversation. I've never done anything like this before. I know. David stands up. That's exactly why you're perfect for it. At 12:25 p.m., I'm sitting in a restaurant that costs more for one meal than I used to spend on groceries in a week, about to decide if Dr. Lisa Huang deserves to have her life destroyed. She walks in exactly on time, looking nervous but hopeful. Scrubs exchanged for a nice dress, hair pulled back neat, carrying a folder that probably contains research proposals for sick kids. I'm at the table right next to hers, close enough to hear every word, pretending to read emails on my phone while my stomach churns. The hospital board member turns out to be one of David's people. Older guy, expensive suit, playing the part perfectly. Within 5 minutes, he's got Dr. Huang talking about her work, her patients, her dreams for expanding pediatric care. She lights up talking about the kids she treats, mentions a 6-year-old with cancer who drew her a picture, talks about working extra shifts to cover for understaffed departments. This woman genuinely cares about saving children's lives. Then he brings up hospital resources, funding challenges, how hard it must be to provide proper care with limited supplies. That's when I see it. Her face changes. Just for a second, but I catch it. Guilt, shame, something heavy she's carrying. It's challenging, she says carefully. Sometimes we have to make difficult choices about resource allocation. Resource allocation, that's how she's justifying stealing medication. But then she keeps talking and the real story comes out. Her younger brother, 17 years old, chronic pain from a car accident, no insurance, doctor prescribing painkillers that cost $400 a month, mom working 2 jobs, dad disappeared years ago. She's not stealing for money or addiction, she's stealing to keep her kid brother from suffering. I know it's not ideal, she whispers, thinking she's talking about research funding. But when you watch someone you love in pain every day, when you have the ability to help but the system won't let you, my chest tightens, because I get it. God help me, I totally get it. 20 minutes later, I'm back in David's office and he's waiting for my verdict. Well? She's taking the medication for her brother. Kid got hurt in an accident. Family can't afford proper pain management. I meet his eyes. She's not a criminal. She's just a sister trying to take care of family. And she's exactly like me. The words taste bitter. Someone who'll compromise their morals to protect the people they love. David nods slowly. Your recommendation? I think about Dr. Wong's face when she talked about that 6-year-old cancer patient, about the hundreds of kids who need her skills, about her brother at home, probably counting hours until his next dose of pain relief. Help her find a legal way to get her brother's medication, keep her job, her license, her ability to save kids' lives. I pause. But make sure she knows you know. Make sure she understands the debt she owes you now. Very good. David's smile is approving and terrifying. You see how this works? Dr. Huang keeps saving children, gets help for her brother, and becomes completely loyal to us. Everyone wins. Everyone except the next person who doesn't have a good reason for what they did. Exactly. 6 months later, I'm living in a penthouse apartment. Sophia's at the best private school in the city, and I've helped decide the fates of 11 people. 7 got second chances, 4 didn't. I sleep fine at night because I tell myself I'm protecting the good people and stopping the bad ones. But deep down, I know the truth. I've become someone who plays God with other people's lives, and the scariest part isn't that I hate it. It's that I'm good at it. You know what it's like to realize you have a talent for something that should horrify you? When protecting your family means becoming the kind of person you used to fear? If you've ever discovered that survival requires skills you never wanted to develop, hit that subscribe button. Because some of us don't get to stay innocent forever. We just get to choose what we're willing to sacrifice to keep the people we love safe. What would you sacrifice? Tell me in the comments, but remember, we're all just one desperate situation away from finding out who we really are when everything's on the line.